aloha.
Let's take a tropical vacation to the serenity that is the Pacific Islands.
Though many Westerners overlook this bastion of exotic culture, the art of these Aboriginal people is worth a close study and appreciation. Unlike European or Asian societies, the Pacific Islanders have upheld a culture that has remained fairly constant regarding certain themes.
These themes include abstract and geometric patterns, vibrant colors, intricate designs, and a devotion to ritual and religious life.
The first settling of the large expanse that is Oceania occurred some 27,000 years ago on the large northeastern islands such as New Guinea. Over several millennia, the vast entirety of the Pacific region was settled, with New Zealand being the last around 800 in the Common Era.
The societies utilized hunter and gatherer roots with basic agricultural practices and an overall typical tribal lifestyle. The art of the Pacific Islands, therefore, did not depart from these aspects of Aboriginal life and always maintained close ties to community and religious practices.
Oceanic art maintained the same themes throughout time, that is to say, it was not subject to the sensitive changes of style and location that Western art experienced. For the purpose of this study, we will categorize Pacific Island art into the following sections: forms of painting, architecture, and sculpture.
In a similar fashion to prehistoric Europe, some of the earliest forms of oceanic art existed in the style of painting, specifically rock art. Thus, we will focus on painting, which is characteristic of oceanic art in its entirety. The most famous example of this type of art resides in Australia with a cave painting from 18,000 BC featuring mimes and kangaroos. This early form of Pacific art displays the endemic X-ray style depiction of animals. Characteristic of this type of painting is the color, which is mostly earth tones, ochre, and white. Though subtle, the X-ray style pays some attention to symmetry, as the animal's limbs and ears are all equal in size and pure copies of one another. Despite being shown in profile, the kangaroo's legs, arms, and ears all sit next to one another, defying the laws of perspective, yet giving the viewer a better sense of the animal's character.
The Aboriginal style endures into the era of modern art, as 20th century artists still practice the major ideals of early rock paintings. Stylistically, Mithanara Gurawiwi's The Conference of Serpents from the Wawilock myth follows the same themes by using a similar color scheme and depicting aspects of nature in an abstract manner. This piece is specifically a bark painting and was used as a means of communication to educate and record ancient myths in order to preserve Aboriginal culture in the 20th century. As in mimes and kangaroos, the symmetric X-ray style is utilized along with abstract and geometric linear designs. The piece is based on a myth concerning anthropomorphous serpents spreading mist and acts as a double entendre in the piece's purpose.
Not all Australian paintings relied on animalistic subjects. Some capitalized on pure Aboriginal ideals of abstract design. Possum Tejapaltari's Man's Love Story abstractly conveys a myth, a somewhat new idea that still maintains foundation in early rock art. The odd forms actually convey characters and events in a myth meant to be viewed from the perspective of the core of the earth. The modern interpreter can appreciate the painting's use of pointillism, varied color scheme, and differences in form.
Let us depart from the thriving mainland of Australia and escape to the mysteries of Micronesia's small islands in order to study architecture. One of the most famous architectural achievements in oceanic art is the Royal Mortuary Compound of Nan Madol, which was an administrative and ceremonial center. Structurally, the compound is composed of large stones in a log formation that creates an upward and outward undulation, along with sweeping and rising lines. The plan relies heavily on rectangles within rectangles that become progressively higher, leading to the central courtyard with the sacred tomb.
As we venture into 19th century New Zealand, Western influence is prevalent in Rukupu's Maori Meeting House. Though Rukupu's team used European tools, they maintained the traditional carving style. Decoratively, the structure is filled with intricate and abstract patterns, characteristic of Oceania. The house itself symbolizes the sky deity in both its form and subsequent decoration.
Architecture may be the most pragmatic of Pacific art forms, but sculpture proves to be the most mysterious. The famous Moai figures of Easter Island still perplex modern historians. These simple yet massive pieces of volcanic stone may be an homage to ancestors, but the practicality of their placement provides the greatest enigma. Their far departure from realism, evinced in their distorted features and strong facial presence, evoke the sense of Pacific abstract art.
For most Polynesians, the canoe was central to their way of life and was responsible for the settling of such a vast expanse. However, this cornerstone of Pacific society was not for purely function, but provided an outlet for the ideals of oceanic art. These included intricate carvings found throughout each canoe, as well as structural designs that did not rely on pure minimalism, but rather were a form of art within their own right. The most elaborate canoes were ones used for war and far ocean ventures in order for the Polynesians to prove their sophistication and power to different neighboring islands. Nonetheless, not all canoes were ornamented, as some cultures, especially Hawaii, went for purely utilitarian vessels whose form could not be sacrificed for decoration.
Our journey through the Pacific has given us Westerners a new appreciation for abstract design as an aesthetic, as well as a respect for art's functional purpose within social foundations.
Now it is time to return to the mainland. We hope that you take with you the majestic aloha spirit of Oceania.